My personality as a whole is 0 or 100. I don't really have the middle ground with anything I do. And within 28 days, I had started the gym.
Greetings and welcome to the Health Business Podcast. I'm Ashley, this is Ethan, and we're your hosts. Today, we've had the pleasure of interviewing Jamie Smith.
After a short internship in the US at a prestigious strength and conditioning gym, he came back to Australia with the intention of building his own. Being the man that he is, 28 days later, he opened the doors to Melbourne Strength Culture, a thriving Melbourne-based S&C gym. Jamie talks about the importance of understanding your business financials, building a strong core foundation, and an even stronger culture.
Inside this podcast, you will learn if you are the type of person who should start a gym, why you should put profit first, and what it takes to build an amazing culture.
Welcome, Jamie. Jamie, man, thanks for coming down to chat here with Ash and I. For those of you who don't know who Jamie Smith is, can you give us a bit of a rundown on who he is?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, my name's Jamie Smith. Thank you for having me here. It'll be an exciting chat, no doubt. I own and run as a coach through Melbourne Strength Culture. We're a strength and powerlifting performance-based gym in Moorabbin. We've been open for about 3.5 years. We're in our 4th year. Expanding, growing, and have a small influence on mainly strength training in Australia, but we do a lot of education-based work with other PTs coming through the system, and obviously you, Ethan, are one of our guys there. So we have a lot of young coaches that come up through our system, and with our mentoring programming and they take a lot from our whole business, and it's something that I do want to open up and show more of, because I think the idea of building a career in health and fitness in Australia hasn't really been nailed yet, and no one has really taken it by the balls, so to speak. There's a few guys that are starting to pop up that I think have the grit to actually get somewhere in the industry, and I like to think that I'm one of those guys. So hopefully we can create an industry in Australia that is actually something worth being in.
Out of curiosity, what you've done first off is amazing, but what do you see as like the biggest problems in the industry? Because you obviously, there sounds like there's a little bit of fire in you.
I think a lot of people realise that you can make a lot of quick money easy when you're starting out as a PT. Run a little small cash-based business. It's all illegal. Don't run it through the tax system.
Office, yeah.
I think we've all been there at some capacity, but
we're talking about that.
But obviously cut that one out. Yeah.
So doesn't listen. Don't worry.
Yeah, no. The young people, they come into the industry. Obviously, I'm sure we probably fit the bill. Young person enjoys training in their teens, good at sport in some capacity, finds it easy to make progress, has somewhat of an extroverted personality, and just sort of deals with people easily. Fall into personal training as a result of that combination, get into personal training, and you can actually start to make a bit of easy, quick cash. Yeah. But outside of whatever you learn in the cereal box Cert 3-4 certificates, you don't learn anything on business. You don't learn anything in like scaling and progression of career. If you get to where we're at now, employing other people and setting up business structures, you don't learn any of that. So I see there's like this bit of a spike in the industry for a young person, and then it very quickly just bottoms out and they just all fall out of the industry. And it's not something that I want to be part of. It's not something I want to promote. I hire my guys at my gym, and I really want other gyms to do that as well, that they're not subcontractors. I want people to be employed and actually be working for a greater good, and obviously ultimately creating a career, because that little spike in the industry is not doing any of us any favors. We've just got a whole lot of young people in there that aren't helping us build something with continuity to something that can actually become a well-run industry in health and fitness.
Was that something that you saw from the start? So did you do a degree in exercise sports science?
Yeah, sports science.
And then did you go, I need to make a change from the start my own thing, or was it something that you kind of saw once you got into the industry that was the issue was there?
Yeah, so I started as, just before I turned 19, I started as a personal trainer, just in a big box gym. Didn't do too well there. I moved to a smaller studio and really sort of found my feet and actually developed my skill set as a coach, or my first initial skill set as a coach. But that sort of idea didn't occur until I went to America. I did an internship in America for cool. Cressy Sports Performance, Eric Cressy. So when I got there and I saw his gym being, I think it was 11 years old at the time, or might have been 10 years old at the time. Mike Boyle, his gym being 15, 20 years old. All the other guys over there like Joe DeFranco, the iFast guys, Mike Robertson and Bill Hartman. You see all these gyms over there that have been around for 10 years and they've really built their own sort of, almost like an ecosystem of development of other coaches who have then gone out and spread and start up other gyms and working at high level performance-based stuff in colleges or professional sport or whatever. But a lot of the people in the industry that are making impacts have all started within these sort of hot pots. And then when I was over there for 6 months, I sort of turned back to Australia. The only person at the time was Christian Woodford, which most people will know definitely likes to flame a lot of the way through the industry. But without him, and I'm open about it, without him I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am now. But it wasn't until I got to America and sort of looked back on Australia, I was like, why the hell has none of this been set up? Why are there no opportunities for good young coaches to actually find their feet and develop in a gym and build a career within another gym? So coming back, it's what I wanted to set up. So it's been nearly 4 years now. And yeah.
Did you go 0 to 100, or how did that look for you? Because I mean, most people, when we employ people or when we speak to people, they want to build their own gym.
Yeah.
That's
pretty much 80%.
Yeah, most people say that. So how did you translate your idea into the actual concept?
My personality as a whole is 0 or 100. I don't really have the middle ground with anything I do. I think it's called the addictive personality. So I got off the flight and within 28 days I had started the gym. I bought all the equipment. I had money.
Days, that's quick.
Again, there's something you might want to cut out of the cut here. But
That's good.
Council permits weren't a hot property for me. I was just like, fuck them. I'm just going to go.
Yeah. Nice.
Sort that out after. So I've got them now. Don't worry. But
we did the same.
I don't have like should I do it? Should I not do it? Like it's just something I just do.
Bang.
So I got home. I had a bit of money left over. My parents are very supportive. They gave me a small loan. Just a personal loan from them. And I just ran with it. I just bought all the equipment, found a place, went through all the loopholes went through all the hurdles. With the commercial real estate agent, and just got it all started and set it up and went. There was no real reason to not do it.
Were you scared signing a lease?
And this is actually a really funny thing. It's one of those things where you're young and I don't think you really understand the consequences of what you're doing. And my parents did guarantor everything for me. I'm again very open with that. My parents are very supportive of me and my business and my pursuits. And I'm lucky that I'm in that position. But at 23 I was when I started it. It was never a hesitation or never sort of...
It's that unwavering faith.
I had no fear at all to step into the arena. It was something that I just wanted to do. And then now I've started, the last 2 years we set up our internship program. And I've moved the internship program into an online mentorship program that people can just pay their way into now. There used to be it was free, it was part of the service, the value exchange for me and the interns was they were going to coach for me on the floor. But moving into that online, I have more fear about doing that than starting a physical gym. I don't know why. I think I'm just a bit more mature now and I can see the impact that I can have on other people. And
do you think just the fear of failure, or what do you think?
I don't know. I haven't really looked too far into it, but the stress that has been backside of me setting that program up dwarfs anything from setting the gym up. I don't know why, but
you said you're an extrovert, right?
Yeah.
You probably just have a way with people, so when you're face to face you've got no issues, but as soon as you put it in tech you're like, I'm the same. Like when I have to do a tech concept, I'm like way more nervous, but when it's people to people, I'm like, throw me in the deep end.
So how'd you go scaling it? So you signed the lease, off the plane 28 days, you're in there. How'd you go scaling it to a thriving business?
The first year wasn't too difficult for us. I called the second year for us was our real grindy year that we really... I had to dig in and sort of work out, all right, what are we actually trying to do here? The first 12 months, I think we just rode off the high of opening a gym. There was myself and Charlie Athanasiou, who's been there since the start with me. So the two of us were just guns blazing, like, all right, let's go, let's work more hours, let's do more of this. I think the biggest thing for us in those initial phases, I'll call the first 2 years that phase. Our networks were really, really important to us and something that we really drove to try and improve. We were traveling to other gyms. We met up with the JPS guys, JPS Health and Fitness.
Yep.
We met up with them in the initial stages of the setup and just trained at their place. Like it's almost an hour drive for us, but it was worth us because we saw them as one of those other figureheads that were starting to pop up and starting to create those little hot pots of other gyms.
Yep.
So networking for us was big. JPS guys, the Woodford team, a few other guys in powerlifting specifically, because that was one of the niches that we were going after. And then the second thing to that would be content creation, drilling a niche. And for us, it was strength training, powerlifting. For about 2 years, we went hard, like weekly things. Our YouTube channel grew to a few thousand followers. On the back end of that, our Instagram drove a lot of just what's the word?
Movement, yeah.
Just Instagram drove a lot of that as well, just drilling that niche and just finding that niche. So the networking and then just picking something that we wanted to sort of answer the question for is within the industry of what do these guys do? And yeah, that's where we're at now.
Which you've done amazing.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think
organic
in the Melbourne area, a lot of people know who you are.
Yeah.
And what you do and your niche especially.
It's been a good process, and it has all just been organic. About a 2-month period there, I put a little bit of money into the back end of Instagram. I didn't know what I was doing, but it is something that I probably will go forward and actually move into a little bit more. But yeah, it's all been organic. I think if you've got a good idea and a good concept and you can answer those questions and you can actually help people, I think if you're just consistent and actually drilling that, you should be fine to find those people and get those people into your gym and into your business ultimately and becoming regular customers.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've clearly defined a niche. I think that's where, like, because when I think of you guys or when someone thinks of you guys, it's very clear what they are.
Yeah.
Strength and conditioning gym, they specialise in powerlifting. Like, there's no wavering, which is probably why you've got so much organic growth, right?
Yeah, well,
the go-tos.
It's like, so we're big on community. Like, we wouldn't put culture in the name if we weren't, like, it's strength culture. They're the two things that we care about. We care about strength training and what it can do for not just your physical being, but your mental and psychological. And even now we're starting to enter this like spiritual realm of like, who the hell are we and as individuals and the greater good of our community and I call it an ecosystem, our ecosystem of strength culture. But then also culture, like the people you're around, they have influence on you more than you think. So they're the two big things that we do, and we got the big quote on our wall being don't expect to soar like an eagle when you surround yourself with turkeys, because that's literally what we believe. And I'm sure you guys will be the same. Like, you put one bad egg in the bunch and it can very quickly turn sour.
For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You can destroy a whole business with one bad staff member.
Yeah.
Or anything really.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we have our set ways of strength culture. We have a lot of gym rules that we are in place. You came in and put your plates on the wrong way, we'll pick you up straight away. Turn your plates around. Like,
what's this?
So I went into their gym once to do a session. Here I am, an outstanding personal trainer myself, thinking in my head, I put the plates on the
just put them on.
I just put them on. And then he's like, they're on the wrong way. I was like, what do you mean they're on the wrong way? There's not a way to them, is there? I was like, nah, they front facing and back facing.
I'd hate talking, they'll probably get fucking grilled.
Yeah, but it doesn't take long, and you work out, if you don't assimilate it, like, it's very, like, members will start getting stuck into you. Like, we've created, there's a lot of little gym rules that just need to be there. And it's funny, like, people that have like started their strength training with us, like the first gym they've ever walked into for whatever reason was us, and we've helped them, we've shown them programming, we've taught them how to gauge their own sort of training and all this sort of stuff. And then eventually they're like, oh, I've got to go train at like a Good Life or a Fitness First. And they're like, man, it was like a farm in there. Shit everywhere, plates everywhere. Blah. And they come back and like, I realise now why you guys have all these systems in place, because that culture idea, like it drives the whole thing. It really does. Like, we want good people in there. We want respect the equipment, respect the members, respect the staff, respect the greater good of what is actually occurring here, because it is a big thing for us.
Yeah. You've like created a culture by making rules, which is amazing. Because I mean, you think about culture in general. Culture comes from discipline. It comes from so many different things. Yeah. Is there any other areas that you've tried to create the culture intentionally?
I think with how as I said, like the first 2 years of the business was really just, let's just see what happens. Not really sure what we were doing. The second 2 years, so about 18 months into that now, how I'm managing the staff, so the 4 of us as a whole, I would say that I've tried to create that same awareness and that same sort of feeling that we have on the gym floor, and trying to apply that into how I'm managing the staff themselves. I identified very quickly that there's certain ways to manage certain personality traits and personality types. The way I push Jamie is not the same way I push Charlie or Didier. They all sort of respond to their different things. But as a team, we have a few like team meetings and like accountability sessions throughout the week that are set up and structured in a certain way, and we're accountable to each other in the same way that we'll be accountable to our gym and the gym floor and the gym space itself. So it's how I'm managing that now, particularly the last 6 to 12 months, has been very, very similar to the way in which we've created the personal gym, or the physical gym, sorry.
Did you do any like a specific type of personality testing?
I did it for myself. I did the DISC one.
What'd you
DISC
get?
Like,
let me guess. DI?
Yeah. Heavy D and then some I. So heavy dick personality. But I haven't done it with my staff, but so Charlie, if you've met Charlie, but Charlie's he'd probably be the opposite to me. Like he is quite extroverted and can be in the right environment, but for the most part, he's very internalized. And
sounds like Ash and I. Like I'm very DI, and Ash is more, what's DC.
Yeah. So I respond really well with people just telling me, hey, fucking do this, go and do that. So then I tried to do that to Charlie for like 12 months. And I would just get frustrated. He wouldn't even see what was going on, and I would just be like, fuck. And then eventually I was like, this is not how I should be managing this person. So now it's a little bit more like get him involved on the hurdles that we're covering, or trying to step over and move through, and get him involved in the planning and the processing of that, what the tasks that he wants to do more of. I see him more as like a technician type of guy, where you just give him the job and he'll just become great at that job, where I'm a little bit more of the forward-thinking, like entrepreneurial mindset. The E-Myth is a really good book for that.
It's a great book.
Yeah. And they sort of breaks down the 3 sort of main personality traits within an environment of a workplace, being the technician who just wants to do good work, get good results, and ultimately they're really good workers. Then you've got like a managerial person who is a little bit more of systemizing and structuring the processes that are in place, and how you can actually get from this position to that position. And then the entrepreneurial mindset, which is a little bit more just like, I put myself in that, like, all right, let's just go after that thing.
Let's do it.
Throw a ball over there. I'm there. Doesn't matter what carnage I've left behind me. Someone else, the manager, will sort that shit out. I'm just running that way.
I can so relate.
Yeah. So I would say that book, which I've only read recently, reading that book sort of made me realize what I actually did in that process of understanding how to manage the guys better and actually get more out of them and ultimately more out of the business.
And has that improved it a lot for you?
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, we've all got, so at the start of last financial year, because our years are on the financial year, just the way it happened. So July 1st, we brought in a whole new structure for client management and sort of like accountability to like certain levels of client management within our team, and our retention strategies for not just the in-house guys, but also the online guys as well. And through that process, it's been a really having that understanding a little bit more of how I can manage these guys individually. The types of words I say to them and the way I motivate like a Jamie compared to a Charlie is completely different, but ultimately I have seen the growth occur. We've grown 40% over the last 12 months, or 9 months, which has been awesome for us. It's I feel like we're in a position now for what small businesses want to get to. We're stable. We've got a constant stream of leads. We've got a constant stream of retention. Our systems are in place. There's not a whole lot of questions that we're asking in terms of our strategies and all that sort of stuff. It's all just sort of there, and now it's just fine-tuning that process and ultimately trying to leak out as much growth as possible.
It sounds like you've really got the fundamentals set now. Like your managerial style's perfect. Your culture's there, obviously. So you kind of really set the fundamentals. Now, does that mean you're looking to really scale it up now, and you're kind of looking to expand it? Or is it more that you're kind of wanting to keep it tight-knit? And
I don't think we'll expand to a second location. It's just not something I want to do. I don't want to split the team up. And also, I like to I watch intently of what the other gyms are doing. Like Woodford went to 3 gyms real fast, retracted back to 1, and then retracted to a smaller location recently. Right. The JPS guys went to a second location in Port Melbourne, retracted back to 1, and pushed a lot more of their business online. So looking at those guys, who are the 2 main guys I see as slightly, maybe 2 to 3 years ahead of our processes and our systems and our growth, moving to a second location just doesn't really make sense for us right now. I'll never say no to it, but it's not something that we really are driving our business towards. It's more online growth, more online systems and ways in which we can catch a bigger market with an online space. And then for myself personally, it's the whole mentorship. I'm actually probably going to set up a second business for that and remove it from Strength Culture and the branding of Strength Culture and create a secondary thing that is just going to be around strength coaching and education surrounding that and business development.
For a personal profile for you more so, or?
It's more that I think it's getting to a point where the strength culture, the physical location, what everybody brands us as being strength, performance and powerlifting in a good location with good sound systems of training. With the internship program, it fit really well within that because people would come to us and learn from us directly. But now with the online space and the online mentorship, it's a little bit more removed from that because the skill set that we're developing with the online programming is just general good fundamentals of strength training and personal training, really. So there's a whole lot more than just strength and powerlifting that we do in the physical location. And the more and more that expands, I just know that it's going to eventually just separate. So it's something that I do probably want to just cut off and create a whole new business around. And obviously I'll just overlook the 2 of them and be probably heavily more because I'm just more interested in this business development, education space. But I think it's just going to blur it too much if I keep it all under the same umbrella. It's not something that I want to do. I'm really happy with the physical gym and what we are doing and creating. I just don't want to blur that with this whole new thing that I'm just doing because I'm just a throw a ball, go get it. I've seen something that I'm good at and I can get people interested in and actually getting some results with their own businesses and their own systems. So I'm going to run with that and go with it. So I'll keep letting this thing just ride and build, and hopefully I know I will be able to get this thing to something that's as a standalone of equal quality of Strength Culture.
Did you always plan, because obviously you have some online coaching, are you finding most of your business is online coaching these days? Because it seems like you guys do quite a substantial amount of that.
So we manage about 140 people at any one time. That's the peak we're at right now. So of that, we have 48 online. And all 4 of us sort of manage them together. But with the system that, I don't know if Jamie's spoken to you about it, but Jamie's spearheading a new stream for us, sort of a slightly lower price point to get a little bit more of a wider net for the online coaching. With that being introduced, I think within about the next 3 weeks, I would expect that very quickly our online business will overtake the physical gym. My end goal is to just get the physical gym to capacity, which we're very close, probably need about 12 people to get there to a point where I'm just like, this is fine, this runs, this does well, this makes enough of a profit that I don't really need to push any harder for this physical location. It's just online growth now with the education and more online coaching. It's just less risk. And ultimately, it's more freedom for you as a coach because you can sort of just do it wherever. You don't have to be at a physical location.
The market's much bigger.
The market's bigger, yeah. Like most of our guys from the online space are still in Melbourne, but they're even just like further location distance away that they can't come in all the time. So it's a better space. It's just where the industry's going as a whole. There's no wonder why a lot of people are moving towards that. And again, just confirms why I don't really want a second physical location.
Yeah. What would you kind of say to someone that is on the cusp of wanting to start their own thing? Like, what's some advice that you would give to
a physical gym?
Well, let's say a personal trainer, for example, that wants to start his own gym.
Yep. And we discussed this slightly, but like owning a gym seems to be the gold standard for personal trainers. It's like once you've owned a gym, you've made it. Like that's the big rock. But what you don't realize is that you now own a gym, but you now have a minimum of probably 70K of expenses per year that aren't going anywhere. The small fluctuations that you feel as a personal trainer with Christmas period, big dip down, the winter period, slow decline, those big peaks into the January, Feb, March, they get bigger and steeper, and the risk of all of those gets more. So the first thing I would say to somebody that wants to own a gym is have a hard look and an internal introspective analysis of yourself and the type of person you are and how well you ride those highs and lows currently. If you're a heavy emotional sort of person who struggles to deal with those things, or when clients leave, you sort of attack yourself and be like, oh, that's like, I feel bad for this person leaving. Those sort of qualities probably don't lend yourself to business ownership and this entrepreneurial space where you're just going to get hit constantly.
The entrepreneur space, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're just going to get knocked constantly. I saw Gary Vee put up a post. He's like, I lose every single day, but I love it. It's like also almost like narcissistic in yourself.
Yeah, you have to develop a sense of absolute love for getting torn down.
Yeah. Because you're constantly just getting nailed, like with all sorts of stuff. So, and I'm not here sitting complaining. Like, I will obviously, building this business has been probably the most exciting thing of my life, and I would want anybody to experience what I've experienced over the last 4 years. But have a introspective look, because you can make your 100 grand at a big box gym.
Yes,
pretty comfortable, no overheads. You pay your $200-300 rent. They give you some form of some leads. Like, it's really easy to actually get to that point, probably easier than you think. Owning a physical place, you get more say in the systems and the development of it, but you also get this big sort of trolley of other stuff that you
got to be ready
weren't.
to take the punches.
You got to learn to eat a shit sandwich.
So we've learned along our way.
I think everybody has, but some good things in terms of somebody who is looking to actually make that jump and then get into a business, a physical location, and own their own gym. Number one, I would say, preferably before you open, have somebody else that you can lean on and actually help with your technical sort of coaching sort of stuff, because very quickly you're going to have to start to build and put the business ownership hat on, develop systems, develop structures, a lot more emails, a lot more phone calls, and all that sort of stuff. So if you have somebody, I had Charlie at the time, who was really good, a really good coach, somebody I could just give a lot of the coaching load straight to Charlie, because all of a sudden you're going to try and be a coach load and a business load and a marketing sales load and all this other stuff. Like, you're going to get into a very deep pool very quickly. So finding somebody before you start, and whether or not they come on as part of the business or whether or not they're just somebody that is employed by the business, is completely up to you and your situation. That's a completely contextual thing. But having somebody at the start really helped me. Secondary to that, I would say start small. Find a small space and burst that thing to the seams. I think we got a pretty decent size. Like, you've been there. Like, it wasn't too big to manage at the start.
Perfect size.
It took about 3 years for us to actually build into it, until get to a point where we're like, oh, it's getting kind of busy here sometimes. And as I said, we've probably only got about 12 people left to fill in those last little gaps for us. But starting small and managing those expectations, because it is a big jump to get into that situation where now I've got all these other hats I have to carry. I've got to have a set financial income because of my expenses are just there. So that would probably be the two biggest things.
Did you pay yourself a wage for a while, or did you kind of? Because that's usually the one thing I see with people starting their own gym, is they don't take a wage for quite a substantial time. They can get burnt out. How did you kind of manage those stresses?
So at the start it was 50-50 split with just Charlie and I. Up until I got Charlie to what I would deem his wage to be set at, and then he just has growth now on top of that. For myself personally, my initial 12 months was set to get rid of debt as quickly as I can. The only debt I had other than my HEX debt was my parents, and what they loaned me $23,000 as quickly as I could to just pay that off. It took me 13 months. I was pretty happy with that. And then after that point, I set my first wage, which was only about $485. It wasn't much per week. And this is the whole thing. Like, I went from a personal trainer comfortably making 90 plus cash, like not going through the books, to now being a business
and
owner.
then you factor in the hours that you're actually working.
It doesn't, and this is where like, do you want to own a gym? Like I'll always come back when people like, do you want this?
And that's the thing that people don't understand as well, is like they go, oh, you're a business owner, you must be killing it. You're like, no, it doesn't just
come.
I've
heard of this thing called GST.
The fastest way to ruin your life.
Bass statements suck. Now that I'm a bit more aware of what it is and how it, like, because like I have it set. Like and this is a sidetrack, but Bass comes along, it's accumulating for 3 months. It's accumulating, and you sort of set your target of what your growth is going to be at over that period. And in this period where we've had these big chunks of growth, my projections have been way off. So I get to the end of the quarter and I'm like, shit. Like, but obviously, like, it's not a bad thing to be in, because
no, you only pay tax if you're making money.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, that's it. If you're profiting, that's what literally. If you pay tax when you profit, so paying tax is not a bad thing. But yeah, having that, again, if you're an emotional person, if you're not good with money, like owning a gym, maybe not. But I don't even. There was an earlier question there. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I've lost it as well. So that's all right.
Oh, the initial paying a wage. It is the first thing that I tell any one of my mentoring people now is run this system backwards. So work out what the business can pay you, set that, and then learn to run your business on less money.
Yeah.
Make your the whole dinner plate analogy of like putting your dessert on a smaller plate is a really good concept. I think it's slowly getting debunked as people still eat too many calories when the plate is not actually that much smaller. But the idea and the concept is really important, and teaching yourself how to run your business on a smaller plate is a really, really big thing. And having your I call it a bucket system, but having your financial bucket system where the money just comes in and then it just filters into the buckets, and then your wage just pops out every week or every fortnight, has been without a doubt the most stress relieving thing that I've done.
Automated.
Automate as much as you can. Yeah.
And that was implemented after the first year, was it?
Yeah. So the first year was just pay my parents. Get the ownership of the business completely me, so I didn't have any risk of anyone else, because I didn't want that. And then probably over the next 12 months, I built it up to a decent wage. And then since getting the other two boys, Didier and Jamie, on board, my wage has obviously stabilised a lot as I'm looking to get them involved more and grow their wages and grow their growth, because ultimately I'm screwed without them. But I want them to be, as I said at the start, I want them to have want a career here. I want 10 years out of these guys, because ultimately 10 years out of these guys is an accelerated growth for me and the business. So the more secure and the more growth they can feel in their positions is, there's no monetary value on that for me. So support them. So my wage is really stabilized now. With this new business that's popping up, I don't know where we're going to get to, but I'm very happy with where I'm at now. Yeah,
that's good.
How do you manage, with your staff? You're saying that you have different kind of styles of leadership almost.
Yep.
How are you finding you're getting problems with staff at all? Because you seem like you have such a core foundation, and that's obviously comes down to you having those things in place and clear growth structures for someone.
Yeah. So Pete Dupuy is his Cressy's he owns along with Eric Cressy. Since the start, they both set up the Cressy Sports Performance together. He's like the back end business guy. So when I was doing my internship under the Cressy brand, Pete influenced me a lot, and he taught me one of the best things in terms of hiring staff. And it's without a doubt the thing that I always turn my focus on to when I look to acquire a new staff member, is that you can hire on competency and you can hire on fit. So hiring on fit would be, this person just fits within your business. They get along well with everybody. You put them in the gym and it's seamless. There's no conflicting of personalities. There's no conflicting of personalities with the staff members or the members of the gym. They just fit really, really well. And then there's competency that you can hire on, which is this person is bringing a skill set to me that I need for my business. But ultimately with the competency thing, you haven't really run the test of, is this person a good fit for my business? And are they going to create waves, or are they going to be a seamless introduction into what we're doing there? And for us, the internship was a really good teething process, because we got to see 12 weeks of what these people are like. And the people that had headaches around them, and people would be frustrated with what they were talking about on the gym or whatever. Like, that person's not a good fit. I don't really want that person to be working with us. Didier comes along, brand new personal trainer. He was coached by Charlie, and he came to the gym, but he fit really well, but he knew nothing, absolutely nothing. Like, he was just like a group training person, like some boxing stuff and some other little bits and bobs. He did a bit of strength training, but he never really had much hard skill development. But his fit was perfect. He was in the business, everybody loved him, and it was really easy. So we were like, oh, let's hire this guy and just build the competency, because ultimately competency can be built really, really fast. But trying to change someone's personality traits or change their likes or dislikes, you're never going to do it.
No, it'd take you 10, 15 years. It just becomes redundant.
Exactly. It's literally wasted resources. And like this whole economics, like utilizing a scarce resource for multiple options. Like, I've only got so much that I can give to this business. I don't want to be trying to fine tune somebody's, what they talk about.
Fundamentally change their personality.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just not, so I will always go hire and fit, build the competency, build it, and they ultimately hopefully become part of the team, which is sort of the process that has occurred with us, which has been awesome.
Amazing. Have you run into any absolute major just speed bumps? I know you obviously learned to ride the waves, but have you had any points in time where you're like, to put it bluntly, oh fuck?
The biggest one was somebody in Sydney tried to use Strength Culture as an apparel brand, and I had set up all of our trademarks myself. Entrepreneurial way.
I can do a trademark. I don't need lawyers.
Pay a lawyer $700 an hour. I can do it myself. So I did that, and I had all the wrong trademarks. So I had no actual brand security or at all. This was with Laura, so maybe like 9 months ago. I literally, for about a week, would go to bed like tears in my eyes, like I'm about to lose this whole thing. It's all going to crumble. And looking back on it now, it's like this guy, he just started an apparel brand and used the word, like he had no idea, but in my head,
to me
it was, and I was like, phone calls to lawyers, blah, 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 like going everywhere. I went to Gaydon's, like international, I don't know if you know them, but they're international, like multi-level, multi-million-dollar. I went to their head office, and I'm walking around their office on whichever street it is in the city, and I'm like, whoa, I'm in a different, I thought I was in like an Entourage office.
We went there like late last year, it was the same thing. Like, what the fuck is this?
I was like, what? There's a guy walking around just offering coffee. That's his whole job.
When there's a guy offering coffees, you're in the right place.
And he came 3 times in the meeting, and I was like, what is going on?
Like, yes.
And thankfully, they helped me out a lot, and they helped me draft like an initial, almost like a cease and desist letter to the person, which was rejected by them. And
really?
They were like, I'm gonna, because I gave him a week notice, and the guy in Sydney was like, nah, I'm gonna look into my own legalities of this. And I was like, what, man? And I'm like, man, I've been around for 3 years. I've been around for 3 years. I've got all this other stuff. I had some shitty trademarks, but like I've tried to plant poles into like what we're doing here. And the guy was like, yeah, don't worry about it. Like, we get these all the time.
In hindsight, there's like absolutely no chance that it would have worked, because unless he hasn't trademarked, he's probably just a startup, right?
Yeah, well, that's it.
As a business owner, it's your baby.
It's the whole thing.
When someone threatens your baby, you're like, you're ready to go. Yeah. Like
it was fight or flight. Yeah. You how did you find out about it? Like,
I was literally on the hashtag Strength Culture on Instagram, and I was like, that's a cool shirt, it's not mine.
And then
I just went into it. I was like, whoa, this guy is using my name. He's in Sydney. I'm like, holy shit. So I took in my heart, I would have gone straight to like 190.
I can imagine, mate.
And I was like, has this guy got money? Is this guy going to try to sue me? Like, what the hell's going to go here? Like, and then I DM'd him first, and the lawyer was like, you shouldn't have done that. But I just DM'd him. I'm like, hey man, like just making sure you know about us. Like we're kind of growing, and we've been around for a little while. We've got a pretty good brand awareness. And I messaged a few of my mates in Sydney, were like, do you know who this guy is? And they knew where he trained. So there was no way he didn't know who we were. I think it was just similar to what I was when I was 23. Just
piggyback a bit.
Yeah, I don't know if he was trying to purposely do it, but I was like, maybe just some limited awareness of the situation. But yeah,
forgot to Google it.
That was without a doubt the biggest like slap in my face of what is going on here.
Probably made you realise how much you care about the business.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's a constant reminder that you always got to stay on your toes, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
and that's
for
with business you've probably found is that if you're not moving forwards in some way, shape, or form, personally or professionally, you're going backwards.
Yeah. The other thing that made me laugh in that process was because I drive an absolutely terrible car. I don't care for cars. I see a car as an A to B vehicle. I don't care about it at all. I bought my car off my grandma about 6 years ago for $400, and I was getting off the train after that meeting, and I paid $720 for 45 minutes or something with that lawyer, and obviously it helped me beyond measure and worth the money, And I was getting off the train. I'm now walking back to my car that's worth half this guy's 45-minute rate. I'm like, it just dwarfs the $120 I'm willing to like charge for my 1 hour personal training rate.
We walked in there in shorts and our tees, and these guys walking around in these suits offering coffees, like you said. And they're like, what the fuck are we even doing here?
Yeah, I felt so out of place. I felt a bit like anxious just being there. I'm like, what is going on here? They've got a whole level of a building. It was crazy. Yeah, but that was. Yeah.
I love it.
Funny story.
Yeah, it's amazing how like even though, because as a business owner, because you're constantly thinking what's next, you stop to appreciate sometimes what you've actually accomplished. Yeah. I'm sure you found that. I can see straight away with your personality type. Do you find that sometimes resting is harder than going for it?
Without a doubt, 100%. Smelling the roses is something that my girlfriend has taught me to do. Her injection into my life has been amazing for a few things, but that concept for me personally with the business. So we've actually brought it up in our team meetings now that we celebrate small wins. Just celebrate. It doesn't matter. Like someone gets one new client, fucking oath, that's worth like a hug, a high five, like stop the meeting, well done. You convert your 2 leads this week, like well done, that's awesome. Like it's a big thing that we've implemented only recently, maybe the last 4 or 5 weeks. Like we hug each other now, like well done, man. Like it's just something that, because ultimately that's what we're doing this for. We're doing this for enjoying. Like, there's the business and I want to build this thing and make money and set a career and influence these sort of people. But ultimately, like life should be enjoyed. Absolutely. And if you are always just blinders on, head forward, just running through walls, like it's very quickly you just get into this anxious, stressed mess of what am I doing? Where am I going? I've started. Yeah.
We've done that loop a few times where we've been like down this tunnel of just focusing on growth, and we've forgotten to kind of like sit back and say, hey, how are we doing? How's this actually going? Are we enjoying it? Yeah. And then it kind of brings you back down to earth. Yeah. But I think, it's like a constant cycle.
That's probably why, businesses fail so often. And there's not many, I don't know the exact percentages, but most businesses fail after a few years, right?
I think everyone throws around high numbers, 80, 90% or something.
Yeah. And, I believe the difference between the people that are going to stick it long term is enjoying to love the bad times, and then also the same thing you're saying is like stop and smell the roses.
Yeah. Because when you actually think about it, like you guys have built something that's like on terms of scale, like dwarfs us. Like you got like in Sydney now and looking to expand further. But ultimately, like that's a fantastic thing. Like you should be extremely proud of that, and you should be looking at that and looking at all the life lessons as well. And this is that spiritual thing that we talked about in terms of our culture and our strength culture idea. This spiritual thing is like the person you're becoming through this process is probably at the end of the day more important than all of these bells and whistles that you're getting as you get a nice Jeep in the car park, or you get a sell franchises or whatever you want to get into. Like ultimately, it's the person you're becoming through the process. The business is just the vessel. Not everybody has a business. Some people use training. Some people use professional sports to get there. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you're going to turn around and look at who am I? Who have I become? Who have I got with me? Who's there along for the ride? Like
said perfectly, man. Absolutely said perfectly. I bought just on the Jeep, right? Because obviously I got the Jeep in the driveway here. But I bought that. I didn't even smile. Yeah, because I realised I don't give a shit about it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's funny because my car battery went flat the other day. It's the first time I've had an issue with it, but the car battery went flat the other day and I had to go to my girlfriend's house, and my roommate just bought a new BMW. Not a new one, bought a secondhand BMW. But getting into that car for a drive, I was like, this is crazy.
Wait, this is a car?
I'm like, whoa, it's like being riding a bicycle this whole time. I'm like bloody pushing this thing along.
Because you gotta love the game. You don't love the objects. You love the journey.
Yeah.
Me and Ash will still wear the same white t-shirts we've had for the last 7 years because we don't why spend money on clothes? I want to spend it on growth.
But even mentors that we speak to and guys like that have all this money now and all this kind of materialistic things, the things that they talk about that make them happy, it's never that. It's never about the money. It's never about the Maserati that they drive, the big house, the pool. It's about their family, their business, and their aspirations. Like,
it's the grind. They just
the grind,
love the grind. Those that are, you see all their aspirational items. But you know what? I think you probably found this as well. There's a lesson in learning when you get those items. Like there is, sometimes it takes getting something to realize, that's not what I need. That's not what I need.
Yeah, that didn't make me as happy as a hug with Jamie B through a process of something or something like that. Yeah, it's like, it's the whole, it is just a vessel. It's just a vessel to become a better person at the end of the day. And I'm sure, obviously you definitely feel it, but I'm sure you guys feel it. And some of the people that are successful in most of your world and your influence probably feel the same thing, that at the end of the day, we're all going to die and have nothing. So
love the
might as well enjoy it.
Listen, do you have another question?
No, I was just going to say, before we ask, do you have another question?
No, I was just going to ask him one more, that's it.
Well, you fire off your I'll fire off this one first. Before we ask our last question, where would people go to find you, Jamie?
For most of it, just melbournestrengthculture.com is the website, but Instagram, my personal one is j.smith.culture, and then the gym is just Melbourne Strength Culture, one word. If you want to reach out or speak to me in any way, I'm happy to do that. If you're a young PT looking for some guidance in that process of maybe taking the step to a gym, I'm happy to help out in whichever way, because I think I do have a lot of personal lesson that you can definitely steer clear of through the process, without a doubt.
All right, last question. You're getting off the plane, younger you, just come back from America, and you're going to start your business 28 days. What advice would you give yourself now, knowing what you know now?
Probably the biggest thing would be learn to manage your business finances. Actually, there's a book called Profit First. I don't know if you've read it. Read that book. Just read that book. Just implement that. Read that book before you start this thing. Just read that book. Implement that from the start.
I read about that book actually. Yeah.
Read the book.
Yeah,
crazy.
He does a great. I think it's an audio that he talks about in a podcast or something, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
I think I've heard him.
What was
on
the main point
podcasts.
from that? The kind of.
The main point is that dinner plate analogy that I spoke of is literally like learn to run your, because the whole idea is growth occurs and then your costing, your spending sort of trails the growth.
Yeah.
But as we know with our industry and with every industry, there's going to be peaks and troughs going up and down, but more often than not, your spending is a bit delayed. So the trough can happen and then you're still spending and then you realize, oh shit, and now
bring it back down.
now I've got to bring it back down. So it's really just learning to manage your business on a far smaller size and take your profit first, literally from the book. So it's just set a percentage and that is just profit and you run your business on the rest. And then eventually like, all right, that's working. Let's make profit percentage bigger. Let's take it from 8 to 10%, run your business off the smaller. Obviously the business is going to be growing. Total revenue should be going up, but you're constantly just trying to improve the amount of profit percentage. Yeah, really, really good book. If I could go back, I would just read that book.
Amazing. Thanks for coming down, Jamie.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.